Thank you for watching Edupedia World videos. Today we're going to continue our journey into inbound marketing, and we're going to go deep in looking at how we can assess the role of conversion in sales in the online space. So I'm going to take you through a couple of slides in this short video in the Edupedia World module on how we can cover, how we can ascertain how sales happen and how we have to provide a content which is contextually driven inbound marketing. So first and foremost, one should always remember that you are always converting. You are continuously converting, and any message, any communication that you set out to put out there should be driven towards conversion. These are the couple of few ads which you can assess on how it draws you near in order to pull out visitors. A couple of display ads and a text ad in front of you right now. So when you're searching at shoes, you want to see a pictorial depiction. When you're looking at any product for that matter, you want to see a pictorial depiction. So usually you will learn more about this in Google Analytics or Analytics, Web Analytics module on how and why display ads are better. And your call to action should always be driven here. It's the Shop Now button in the first and foremost ad. In the second ad, it is the Visit Now button. In the third ad, it portrays on how the new program is going to start on February 14th to 15th. Right? So that goes to your digital display ads. And how do you do that? How do you emulate the same thing so that you get enough people on? It all boils down to call to actions. In this screenshot, you can assess on how a photography page is trying to capture its audience by stating, that the first should always be an introductory statement. In this, as you can read, it says join the weekend basic photography course at Shari Academy for beginners starting from 5th of January, Saturday. And then it gives you a call of action. Either you call to a number or you drop an email. And it gives you a date in the next creative, saying, okay, this is what we're going to teach, an infographic on what you all need to become a photographer, all the particulars that one needs in order to facilitate the lead to materialize. So usually the biggest mistake which we do on Facebook is we have this presumption that Facebook is not a platform which will give you leads. Like a few of my clients always insist that we run campaigns on other platforms instead of Facebook, because Facebook is more or less an online relationship management platform, which we're going to learn soon on the same amazing platform on Edupedia World, and why online reputation management is such a key. But on Facebook also, all of your social media especially is also a huge lead generator, is huge lead gen perspective. Because your audience is always, how I see it is, on display on Google, your audience is just a singularity. It's just one person coming on and looking at it. But on Facebook, it's a network, right? It's a network, it's like a web. So the array of people who are going to look at it are majority. So communication that you're going to establish on Facebook should be crisp, should be on point, should not be any BS, should not contain any BS. Sure, it should be out there. So in this screenshot captures it impeccably. Similar to that on Dell. You give them a price point, you give them a link, it's gonna go in, right? If you just tell people that there's gonna be a clearance sale in the coming week, and if you don't tell them, okay, this is how much the offer is gonna be valued at, if you don't give them a link, if you don't give them that call to action, the call to action here is limited quantities available, and then you get another call to action is your coupon code. It's usually people are very fastidious and overdriven towards coupon codes, right? So you have to define your call to actions. I know deep down you will be sitting down there and saying it's just a Twitter post, nobody has the time to read it, I usually ignore it, but that's not the case. In actual business terminology, it is not the case. When you're pushing towards leads, when you're pushing towards conversions, it doesn't matter. people look at it if you have the content delivered, if you have the content crisp. People are going to look at it, right? So there are a couple of ways on how you can even define your EDMs or electronic display messages or your normal emailers which you send out to clients, right? So there are a couple of call to action. Usually an emailer is a platform which has which gives the user a lot of time and a lot of information, because Facebook and Twitter is sort of casual, but email, it still boils down to being a formality. It's an official communication that you send out to them, right? Because you don't want that to end up as a spam, right? Because your spam rate goes up, and that sort of keeps you out of the whole inbox situation. I'm going to talk to you more on that in the email marketing module, which you're going to start after we finish inbound marketing. So in this video, it's straight up. So it talks about, again, using data to advantage of the biggest growth opportunity in 2015. It sort of gives you a hint, increasing conversions. How? Hey, this is Peep from Conversion Excel. Two things in this email. One, you can read about why data analysis is critical through a blog. Give you a small introduction to the thing, and you give them another call to action to read the thing again, right? Why you need to consider this? It can be for anything, be it a product which you're selling, be it a web blog which you're trying to push out. It can be anything, any article, any call to action. It should be structured. It should be BS free, is how I see it. So the next is serious about increasing conversions. You need to consider this. My recent survey confirmed two things. One, most companies want to increase conversions. Most don't know how to do it. We're going to make your life much better. The communication is in layman terms. There are no big words in the communication. You don't need to take a lot of time to read it. Nobody has to waste a lot of time reading this. And at the end, you have a call to action, which basically takes you to Conversion Excel and gets them to fill a form. It's as simple as that. So there are other particulars which you need to also consider. For instance, if you're building a fan base, audience aggregation is the core entity. Let's say as you can see in front of you, a Footprint Holidays, which is a holiday website, their proposition is to build an audience so that they can give them their offers, they can build their pool, they can build a loyalty, right? So their call to action is exactly what I said. I'm going to give you a bunch of offers and stuff. Like us for updates. Straight up, no BS. People are going to like it, right? The conversion rate will be up notch. If you say Footprint is a holiday located in San Jose, blah, 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 we cater to 108 clients, 102,000 in odd cities, blah, 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 and all those things, people are not going to look at it because it doesn't concern me. What concerns me is if you can give me the best value, right? The best value proposition, right? On the right hand side is what you can see is a no-no, right? This is an advertisement on Twitter which doesn't say much. It's just a logo and it just says promoted and you have to follow. So this is a bad example for audience aggregation because there's no text to it. So when you're aggregating people on Twitter, I'll strongly ascertain that you reach out to influencers or bloggers to promote your platform instead of you pushing out ads out there, because the core audience you're going to bring in on Twitter will not be the core audience that you're looking for. It'll be just random, right? So that is one thing that you should always consider. Feel free to take notes. Feel free to reach out to me at any time at pedanticreader@gmail.com is my email account. And another call to actions on your websites. So these are some brilliant screenshots that I've been scouring on the internet to find for you guys. One of the ways is, as you can see the main box up there, email address, get tips. It doesn't say register. It doesn't say read more. It doesn't say newsletters or anything. It's just straight up to the point. Get tips. You're gonna send you tips, right? And then the other one is the same thing. It's like get the posts. Right? You're, let's say, on a website, maybe Your Story or on BuzzFeed or any of these content websites, or your New York Times or anything, right? You're there for content and you don't want to miss it, right? You don't want them bombarding you with push notifications on your phone, because your phone is a personal thing. You want your messages, your phone calls to come through, not push notifications from an application, right? So you want that to come to your inbox, and when you have time enough to spend with that, you open it up, read the articles, right? So this is just bang on. So what I'm trying to say, I know it's a lot for a small post which says get the post, but the communication module should be straight up. So whenever you're designing or you're working towards marketing a material, you think from a client's perspective. You put your shoes on, you see, okay, his value proposition is this, my cost per acquisition is that, what are they looking at, what am I giving them? That should be your communication module. Yeah. So another way to curate your content would be to get leads, right? Another way to get leads would be to give them a webinar, to give them a free trial, to get them reviews, which you're going to look at in the next module, how you need to design a website in order to bring audiences, in order to retain the audiences on your page, so the lead material. As an excellent example on these, from an amazing tool which all marketers should use, should embrace, it's called Kissmetrics. I strongly urge you to take up this 14-day trial just to have a look at it, just to feel. If you have a website, if you have a web property, just go, have a look, get the feel of it. Feel free to experiment. We will be covering web analytics completely, but it would be better if you have that inclination. Anyway, it's not anything, you don't need to know any programming languages. It's quite easy to use. It's all straight up, right? So in the first example, it's like turn your knowledge into revenue by having the best knowledge of your customers, straight up, right? No BS. And then you go Kissmetrics, consumer analytics, marketing insights, easy A/B testing, world-class support. That's all that you need to know, right? Can I test it out on 2 iterations and see how it's going to respond? Yes. Can I get market insights? Yes. Are you going to give me support? Yes. And then you fill in the form, and you don't need to give them a credit card or anything so that they can charge you when you're sleeping, all those things, like how Amazon works. There's nothing on that. It's just straight up, straight to the point. You start your trial. Next up is the main key hero image, which says, okay, every single interaction a person has with your business, you see how they mimicked the profile picture from, let's say, any social media website. It sort of helps you relate your consumer, because when you look at the online space, this image of the dude in the middle is what you're sort of thinking of, right? He's the guy, your target audience, you're 18 to 34, lives there, blah, 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 depending on all of your products and everything. That's what you need to know. So you won't just be looking at aggregate data. Go back and look at each person's interaction history, no matter where it happens, web, mobile, social, desktop, and even offline. So Kissmetrics is a tool. They're selling you the products, no bullshit. They're not telling you that this company is using it, that company is using it. It's just straight up on what you want to hear. That is the stress on getting that inbound traffic onto your site. As you can see, more and more now, every single website is becoming a single page website. From an SEO perspective, it's a very bad thing. But from a communication module, that's an exceptional platform to work with, because your communication modules have to be BS free. It has to be smooth. It has to be crisp, right? Taking a look at another one on how you can, ascertain your sale in order to communicate that. You send out an email saying, hey, where's your business coming from? Most people have analyzed the origin of their business. Take some time, read through the email, see how the email is structured. It's easy to read. There are a couple of points. It's like as if you're having a communication with someone, right? Where's your business coming from? Most people have never analyzed the origin of their business, which is actually a two-pronged question. Where are my customers coming from? Where are my best customers coming from, right? Two questions which generally people ask. As an online marketer, I guess you heard the 80-20 rule. and it probably rings true that 20% of your customers are bringing 80% of your business. If you knew that one type of customer has a tendency to buy more or stay with your service longer, would it make more sense to focus more on your efforts on them? Here's a quick example. They give you an example. It's encapsulating me into the email so that you know, okay, this guy makes sense. Let's give him the money. Let's see how it works out. Then we can figure out if they are our long-term partners, right? Back when it was fairly new, we had a burning question. We have used this, but what is the best way to market this product? What types of businesses derive the most value from it and most valuable to us? So it's straight up, as I've been saying, every communication, you have to define it. So to define anything and everything, at the end of the class, I'm going to showcase you a framework which was taught to me by a dear professor of my school called Professor Dana Ladd. He was excellent, extraordinary man. He taught me many things. But one framework, even though it's not related to marketing, but I always use this in every single thing, even in my life. So we're going to talk about that at the end of this module. At the end of this module. So the other example is, right, you give them free trial, you give them all your hyperlinks so that people can test it out, people can see what you're talking about, right? So at the end, what are you doing? So what are you curating? You're building an online presence, you're aggregating people, and then you're converting that leads, and that lead is going to convert into sales thanks to examples like this. They thank you for signing up for your 14-day. To get started, you need to access your website's code. Here's how you do it. And then getting started with guest metrics, shebang, it's done. And then after 14 days, you send out a benefit sort of an email, which you're going to look at the next module, which is how you understand the customer psyche when you're experimenting in your 14-day trial on your guest metrics or Google Analytics or anything. So before we move on to the next chapter, I would strongly suggest that you build or if you have a web property, I'm sure half of you guys will have a web property who are watching this video right now, to go back and connect your web property to any of these platforms which you're talking about. Go back and push out ads or look at ads or write content from the perspective where it's fluidic, it's straight up from a consumer perspective, it is conversion driven. Right, in the end, for a business entity, you only worry about conversions, and all of these are conversion driven, right? As I said, you are always converting. Thank you very much for watching Edupedia World. Have an excellent day. Bye.